Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Estate with Ryan. So excited to be with you on a Saturday, talking our favorite topic. It's real estate, as you know. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have an amazing weekend, and thank you for tuning in. March Madness is officially upon us. Vols are back in action, both men and women. And the spring market, housing market, is in March Madness, so it kind of ties in. I know we had some crazy weather last week. That was always wild. It's hard to believe we're having snow in March, but it's East Tennessee, so, anything goes. I've got a great show for you. We're talking about affordability has improved in 50 states across the country. What does that really mean? We'll talk about that. You've seen some news about foreclosures. What are the real numbers? We'll discuss that. And then on the second half, we'll talk about some real estate, talk about some AI, how AI is taking over. How it's affecting the housing markets across the country, certain infrastructures, energy, and things like that, and how that may affect here East Tennessee and all that. So we've got a good show for you. But before we get going, as always, we got some congrats, some new listings. Been very busy here in the market. And let's talk about with our new listing 225 Pawnee Road in Kodak. Beautiful custom-built property, in-ground pool, one-level ranch with an additional how would you say back there? Another garage, rec room, could be a facility for a parent's in-law suite. Perfect opportunity. Make sure you check that property out. Just listed in Kodak. And then 409 Matterhorn Drive will be on the market next week in Gatlinburg. Beautiful remodeled cabin up there. Spent a lot of time and effort on that. Make sure you check that property out. And then in 124, Laura Lane went under contract in Maynardville. Congrats, new construction there. Then 425 Autumn Lane in Gatlinburg under construction. Sorry, under contract. Got construction on my mind. And then we got 2459 Hawks Nest Way. Beautiful cabin, sold. Congrats to our great sellers there. All right, so we got a lot going on. It's busy. Inventory's picking up. Rates a little bit all over the place. Fed's made a decision not to do anything with the interest rates. But we're still in a pretty good opportunity. Buyers that are thinking about buying or moving into East Tennessee, they are doing it, and it's at record fashion. We've got a couple coming in next week, and a couple of the ones that they were looking for is already under contract. So it is a great opportunity if you're thinking about selling, thinking about purchasing. Now is the time. Great opportunity. But where's that affordability been? So we're going to talk about that and so much more. Affordability, it seems like that's far and few between if you're in the real estate market. If you're looking for houses, what you thought was a reasonable purchase, I remember back in the day, a $250 in East Tennessee would find you a nice starter home or a decent family home. $250 now, there's nothing out there. So that affordability has been a big factor. And a bigger factor since COVID is just affordability, where the rates have been manufacturally low, right? And so it allowed us to sell a lot of properties and properties to move. But when those rates have increased, the price kept going up. And so that's obviously not the chance where we're at right now. But the affordability this year and this spring, we're expected to have a strong rest of the year. Although the real estate market, you got a war going on. Oil prices are going skyrocket. Is that temporary or will this be long lasting? Diesel prices are up. All that affects us here in the housing market. So remember, the most important thing if you're in the market of buying, selling, I know we do this show, and I appreciate you guys going on almost 10 years on the radio, is make sure you get a great agent in your corner. And I think that's key. If you're starting out looking for your new home, you want a great agent to kind of walk you through that process. If you're relocating, like we got some great clients that are coming in town, get with a great agent, knows the market, to make sure you make informed decisions. Affordability, though, to buyers, if you've been waiting for a while. Feels like last year we were waiting a little while, looking at what's going on in the market. We are seeing improvement across the board, not just in East Tennessee, but across the U.S. At some point, you did the math and looked at the monthly payment and just said, hey, that's out of my budget. And we're looking for things, but something you may have missed or you're on the sidelines, now we're increasing. We've got a family member that we're working with, and we're working on negotiating on a inspection, working on these items, and then all of a sudden, we see new listings pop up. This is an opportunity where new inventory is. Sellers, if you're working with a great buyer, we've worked everything out. I think one of the biggest things that I would advise most sellers, of course buyers too, right, would be time is an opportunity that could make a deal fall apart, right? The more time that we have between a deal where we're working out something that it drags out, it's never in a favor of the seller, right? It gives more time for buyers to start thinking and second guessing and opportunities. So if you're in the market today, if you're working on an inspection deal or working on those details, we have new inventories popping up, new opportunities. Maybe it's new pricing. And that's one of the biggest things we'll face this year is where we've got one in the neighborhood that's selling. They're at X, right? But then all of a sudden, a new one down the street, a little larger square footage. It's got that master in the main that we're looking for, and it's $10,000 less, and you're under contract. What do? Sellers, make sure that if you're doing an inspection, work hard diligently, have your agent working hard to make sure we get those under contract, those contingency periods resolved quickly, because we don't want that to be a reason that the deal fell apart, okay? We got new research across the whole 50 states that 2025 buyers were getting a boost heading into the 26 market. First American said that the housing is still fairly expensive compared to historical standards, but pressure buyers have felt over the last year is easing in some states. Individuals in cities and neighborhoods are going to vary, sometimes by a lot. But overall, buyers are planning to move in 2026. We know that in East Tennessee that we're expect to have a large traffic of people relocating to our great state. And again, able to buy in 48 of the top 58 metros, affordability has improved in the last year. So that's a good sign. 10 of the top cities where that has improved. So we'll cover that. Spend a whole lot of time. But beautiful Miami is number one on the list. Okay. Got Atlanta, Georgia, not far from us. Seattle, Washington has improved. Denver, Colorado. Number 5, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Tampa, Florida, number 6. Salt Lake City, Utah. We've got a couple, believe it or not, just got their property. I just talked about Manorville. They've got their property in Utah, and it's on the market, and contingencies there. So we're getting Utah in the area, so that's good, exciting to see. Riverside, California. Raleigh, North Carolina. That's good, right next to us. And then Las Vegas, Nevada. Vegas, all right? So when buyers have choices, it creates a more healthier, balanced market. And that can help bring affordability back within reach. And I think that's something that we've needed on top of, right, interest rates. So those are things for the marketplace. There was a survey that if the rates went down about a half point or a point, at least a quarter of a point, it brings between 5 to 8 million people across the U.S. back into the housing market. And that's a strong number. So a lot of buyers we know they've been sitting on the sidelines have been looking for affordability to improve. When affordability comes back in reach, homes up for grabs, it opens the door a lot wider for buyers to negotiate with sellers for credit, price, cuts, and more. It gives you more chances to find the house that you're looking for, and more importantly, meet your budget in today's housing market. And that may make, and I think most people don't realize, that may make a bigger difference than you expect. You look at some of your payments, and you compare a rate between 6.5 and 6%, and that could be as much as $500 or $600 in a housing payment. That's $6,000 or $7,000 a year. So none of this means affordability or challenges completely have disappeared. We're still facing them, but buying a home in today's market, we know is a big decision, right? But the trend is moving in the direction that we want to see, and buyers have been waiting for a while. So I thought that was very, very important. Recent data is showing that U.S. that affordability is improving. With the mortgage rates improving, I don't know exactly where they're at today. They're a little bit under 6, but with the feds having an opportunity, we'll talk a little bit in the second half where the rates are specifically. But right around that low 6 mark, and then our 15-year in the mid-5s, that's a great opportunity. The major shift in the housing market, what is actually changing? I think you're finding that more sellers that if the homes on their market, if they're not selling, we talk about if it's not compelling, it's not selling, right? If it's not priced right, buyers are not moving on it. So sellers are realizing that the market is not what it was before, and that pricing the home right is a big difference. With the interest rates adjusting, it puts us where we need to be. Also, what is changing? Jobs, AI, we're going to talk about that in a little bit in the second half of the show. how is AI affecting the housing market? How is it affecting across the U.S., certain areas? Had a group conference call the other day, and they're in Texas, and a big AI data center is coming in, and the power and things like that. And it's kind of neat to hear it, if you're investing, you talk about AI, or if you're in the stock market, but really seeing it in your backyard is big. And so we'll talk about that and how that's affecting the housing market and which states are seeing that now. We got a few minutes for the break. We'll be right back here in just a few minutes. Real Estate with Ryan. We're talking about AI and the housing market here in East Tennessee. We'll see you back in just a second.
When speed matters, every second counts.
Wow, that was fast.
In real estate, speed is an advantage.
In football, speed is crucial.
In softball, speed is game-changing.
If you want your home sold fast,
Trust Ryan Coleman and his team at Hometown Realty for fast results.
Thanks, guys. Go Big Orange.
Hometown Realty is East Tennessee's #1 real estate group and a proud sponsor of the Vols.
I'm Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty. The real estate market's changing every day. You need to know your home's value in today's market. Text your home address to 290-2290 for an instant, no obligation home evaluation. That's 865-290-2290. And remember, when you're ready to sell, we have a guaranteed sale program to get you in your next home stress-free. Trust your hometown experts. We've helped thousands of people just like you. All right, we're back at it. Second half Real Estate with Ryan. Thank you for staying tuned. I got going in the first half, but I just really want to tell you, if you're tuning in for the first time, I know we got ball games, March Madness, a lot going on, but you can always catch Real Estate with Ryan every Saturday. News Talk 98.7, 1 o'clock. Appreciate your support there. 10 years running. Almost 10 years. And then Talk Radio 92.3 FM, AM 760. Also catch us on their Facebook page, live streaming there. So appreciate that 10 years running. Appreciate both partners there, Real Estate with Ryan. But if you miss it there, don't worry. We got you covered. Social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, etc. We're where you need to be for all your real estate information. What's going on in the housing market? Hope you enjoy the show. We enjoy spending time with you. And you know what time it is. It's at March Madness. It's drum roll, please. It's the Vols in action. It's go time. We got a lot of things going on. If you're following our pages, you're liking what we're doing. Of course, you got Tennessee football. Carlin back in action. Good to see her. She's back from an injury. Shoulder there. Looked strong the other day. Setting career milestones with her strikeouts there. I believe it's 700 or 7,000. I can't remember exactly, but it was a lot. And she looked good there. Lady Vols, 1 loss, impressive season. Make sure if you haven't went to a game, we've got you covered. Next game is Tennessee Tech. Lady Vols are playing. Then we got Ole Miss at Tennessee, Sherry Parker Lee Stadium on the 27th at 6 o'clock. We got Ole Miss the 28th at 2 o'clock. And then, follow our Vols. You got Lady Vols in action, March Madness. You got the men in action. And so a lot of things going on. And did I say spring football, April? Right around the corner, hard to believe. Don't forget our baseball team. They're out doing amazing out there, men baseball. Go check a game. Make sure you like, share, and follow. If you've just listened to this radio show, say, who's that guy? Well, we're proud sponsors of the Vols, and we always love to give Vol Nation to go to some of the games, take time away from life, go have fun, and we put you on our dime. We send you there. All you got to do is like, share, and subscribe to our page. Every week there's a game. We've got something going on. We're going to send some lovely winners to enjoy. We've got a lot of pictures on our Facebook, Instagram, etc. We love seeing you guys go and the videos. We had some amazing videos already for the softball. So, lady softball is amazing. So if you haven't went, we'd love to send you. All you got to do is follow our channel. We got so much going on. And then we'll talk about football next week as practice is picking up. And that is our 60-second Vol update. Go Big Orange. Hometown Realty, proud sponsor of the Vols. Okay, there's a lot going on. Springtime, Ryan. Get my house ready. What do we do? Hear the housing market. Look into the news. Looks depressing. Think I'm just going to maybe not sell. Well, the market's challenging. Market's a little bit worse than we've seen in a while, but there is a lot of opportunities and a lot of peaks here in the last couple of weeks. The 2008 housing meltdown was brutal. It collapsed many Americans across the area with foreclosure. And now housing analysts are saying that, the doom and gloom could come. But we're not exactly thinking that that's what's going to happen here. So there's a lot of news and sightings. Of course, if you go to TikTok or different things, don't get your news from TikTok. I mean, I get it. But you see the foreclosure filings have increased some. And of course, some first-time buyers, right, are being priced out of the market by investors that can't afford to move to certain areas. Obviously, it's going to be challenging, and they're sounding alarms across the area. Zillow's reported that 53% of homes lost their value in 24 and 25. It's been challenging. When rates are 7 or 8% and the prices haven't changed, you're going to have this pushback. It's normal. It's called supply and demand. It's also called pricing. Makes sense, right? I'm just not going to sell my home at 3% and go pay 8%. And then I'm going to get lesser of a house. So that's where we're at. That home prices grew only 1.3% year over year. Well, they can't keep going up forever. Nobody will be able to afford anything. So there's a normal correction in the housing market where the last 24 and 25, we're seeing some of that. But according to Case-Shiller, U.S. National Home Price Index in December 25 was the weakest gain since we've seen since 2011. Realtor.com said that they predict 22 out of 100 largest cities will have a decline. It's a normal correction. It's got to happen. That being said, where does that put you in the housing market? Where does that put East Tennessee, right? A lot of people are saying, well, the foreclosures are picking up. I wanted to kind of dive into that. There are some more foreclosures. Look, we're facing, there's consumer debt's increasing. There's some challenges. We're seeing homes on the market a little bit longer. Knoxville was in February about 77 days in the market. I think that will increase closer to 60 as we approach spring, March, and April. But hard to believe March is almost over. That's really kind of scary, but we'll save that. But, as you get into go season, I would say March Madness, spring market, you're going to see things move a lot quicker. In the first segment, we talked about it. Some of the homes that our buyers are looking for, we're pending before they could even get there. They're not even in town yet. Remember, in January, February numbers across the country, that's a snapshot of the market, but that's not going to be the 12-month cycle. Real estate goes in cycles. I tell all my clients, so important that if you watch the news, you watch the stock market, it's real time. Real estate happens here 6 months, 12 months, then we're able to see some of the effect of that. We've had a cold weather, we had literally chilling temperatures across East Tennessee, snow, weather. So our February was a little bit slower than normal. And March, I think we're picking up a little bit, but we're not where we usually are at this time. So expect March and April to see an increase of inventory, new listings on the market, and a lot more pending sales. But we see inventories across the U.S., and we're seeing foreclosure delinquencies pick up. Serious delinquencies, loans that are 90 days or more past due. And when you see that, you get worried. When you see those numbers, of course, you watch too much of the news, you just get worried. But there's a big difference than 2008. In the year's crash, they were up 9%. That's 1 in 11. So we're now 1 in 100. So there's a big difference. And it's important to remember that all delinquencies that you're seeing in the housing market, or these numbers that pop out, because they're headlines, right? Headlines, it's doom and gloom, the foreclosure's up, the world's coming to an end. It's not the case. And if I could show you this chart on the radio, I would. But if you could see the numbers, 1 in 100 is very competitive compared to where it was then in 2008. Foreclosure numbers are even lower delinquencies. They're 0.3% of all homes are currently going through a foreclosure filing. That's really low. And just remember, important to understand, just because there's a delinquencies, many foreclosures, they may fall behind, but they're working out payment plans, reworking things with lenders. We've got one that we're working on a short sale. And so there's a lot of opportunities out there that will avoid the foreclosure in the housing market. And obviously, a lot of people are having challenges out there facing, and that's hard to stomach. But a lot of sellers also have more equity in their homes and an opportunity to sell that to avoid foreclosure than they have in a long time, or refinance, or etc. The major difference in 2008, homeowners are worth a lot more. So yes, foreclosure filings are up a little bit, but that does not mean it's doom and gloom. We're going to see some of that with the higher interest rates, affordability, and everything that's happened over the last 2 or 3 years. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, let's talk about the AI. How could that happen? Could be coming to East Tennessee, but what are we seeing AI? We talked about it in a conference call that we had with some great agents across the country. And AI workers are concentrating in major cities. So San Francisco, home prices are up 23% year over year. It is the fastest growing year over year rents at 14%. AI equals 36% of office demand in that area. And inventory is down as much as 35 to 50%. So that's kind of hard to believe. And where AI, the workers are coming from, their high salaries, stock options, relocation packages, all these things are affecting the housing market in some of these areas. So we talked about Texas. Texas was a big area. They're coming in that area strong. So we're going to see broader trend, meaning AI, New York, Seattle, Austin. Anytime you see job growth cluster in one area, real estate sales trends are going to always follow. And I thought that's important to see. Kind of hard to believe that AI is coming into play, but it's here, and embrace it. So if you're thinking about selling in these areas, East Tennessee, we know we got movement, data center, down Oak Ridge, a lot of things going on in Oak Ridge, growth development there, the Department of Energy and everything going there. So that's exciting to see. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, now is a perfect time. Get out there. If we could help you anyway, go visit our website at www.ryancoleman.org. We've got all kinds of helpful tools and things to help you. Hope you guys have an amazing week. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Love you spending time with us. Look forward to seeing you back next weekend. Have a great weekend.